criminal case day two. All right, so this was the second day, and little hint, you might be like, well, you were wearing the same shirt and hat and doing the same thing after the last video. Well, guess what? I'm making both these videos back to back because after day one, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but I wanted to talk about it because it was such a great experience. And I feel because during the trial, I can't talk about it. So let's just talk about it to the camera until I can talk about it with more people. And then I'll eventually air these videos. All right. So day two, today was really witness day. It continued. So we had the mother of the victim, which I talked about in day one, kind of conclude that, which made for a powerful, explosive morning. And then we didn't take our, we took a 5-minute break. It was really weird. We took a 5-minute break at like 11 o'clock. And which turns out, I'm learning that 5 minutes means 15 minutes, but you get there super early because you don't want to be that juror that they're calling and looking for on the phone. No, do not want to upset the judge. It's clear that it's his courtroom when you're in there. It's like going over someone's house. It's like going over someone's house who has real formal, like, grandparents, and like you don't want to mess up their room, like the fancy living room or whatever. That's what it feels like when you're in these courtrooms. But it's an honor. So I talked about the mother. But then we saw some expert witnesses, as I just talked about. And the first one was to talk about basically cell phone data, which was really interesting. This guy came in and he works for T-Mobile. He's been doing it for like a long time. And he was throwing around these acronyms. Basically, he's a records custodian. Came in very professional with his tie on, very knowledgeable. And he handles subpoenas. And he talks about when records are subpoenaed, like what happens, what the data means, what they have access to, where the data is stored. And he defined all the acronyms. And he talked about how long data is stored for. In the line of questioning was just establishing his credibility. And that went on, and then they, were basically trying to establish that they had cell phone records of the victim. Not the victim. I'm sorry. The accused. I guess you say plaintiff. Is that right? The person who allegedly committed the crime. That his cell phone was in the area of when the crime happened. And that corroborated. That certainly corroborated and checked out. So he was there. He testified for a while. Then the next expert was a retired detective or sergeant who focused in their, like, basically electronic, I wouldn't say electronic, but like digital forensics. And he talked about basically kind of corroborating what the T-Mobile guys said, and also talked about what technology they use to read phones. I learned about that. So it's like Starlight and Guardian software. Really, really cool stuff to understand and learn. So we then talked through that for a while. Then they crossed everybody, and sometimes they redirected back to direct questioning, which was interesting. Several sidebars went on during this, and then we surged along till past 1 o'clock. At that point, we had like a 15-minute break at around 11, and then we surged on until after like 1 o'clock. So we took a less than an hour recess. It was a very quick recess. And hey, this guy's gonna let me go. Come on. So then we took a less than an hour recess. there's a great marketplace nearby, so you can walk in and get a sandwich. Before you know it, we're back in, and then the next credible witness is they brought I believe he's a sergeant, specializes in SVU in Bergen County, New Jersey. They brought they brought these people in. Only one of the 3 expert witnesses is local. They brought this guy in for trial prep, and then they prepared him, and they this guy was, I mean, dealt with basically, served out a search warrant for the accused cell phone and DNA. And so they went through the process of how you do a DNA swab. Like, he explained it all, and then he explained they had the actual cell phone sealed in an envelope. They had him put on rubber gloves and open it, examine the phone, confirm that that's the phone that he did, I guess, seize in the search warrant, and then talked about the procedures for that. And then he also talked about, again, corroborating how they read off the data, they extracted the data, what they saw on the report. So then basically going back to that image that I talked about in the first, in day 1, they brought that back up and they said, is this the image that you extracted from the phone? Yes. And then again, they went through all the methodologies of how they extracted it. So building the case. However, after the second day, all of this stuff is, I guess you could say, I mean, it's difficult to swallow. I'll leave it like that, right? Very difficult to swallow or to think about and process. However, after day 2, I still don't have proof that this person was, I don't have proof that he committed the crime, basically what I say. However, I also realized after day 2, they're doing a great job of setting the stage. Like, that's what they're doing here. Like, they know at this point that they don't have, the prosecution does know that they don't have what they need to end the trial right now. Like, they don't, but they're getting there, and that's the cool part. They're getting us there by building the story, telling the story, setting up expert witnesses, corroborating. Very cool. Very, very cool. Not easy, because when I walked across the street for lunch, I was like, I was certainly taking deep breaths. And I do apologize for the sound, because again, the sun is out and it's just like pouring rain. It's just weird. And then you ask for the forecast and it tells you no rain is expected. And I just drove 15 miles as I'm talking to you. So there you have it. So I'm looking, so tomorrow is day 3. And I should imagine there's going to be, I think, if I follow this correctly, during opening arguments yesterday, there's going to be another subject matter expert that gets on the witness stand that is going to put the nail in, that's going to pull it all together and basically put the nail in the coffin, and without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, that's what I would think the prosecution's aiming to do. What I think it's going to be is, why is this person doing 20 miles an hour? What I think it's going to be, predict the future, is I think it's going to be the results of the DNA that was swabbed, because they said they swabbed this gentleman's DNA, right? He allegedly raped this person. So I think what's going to happen is they are going to then, because they kept talking about during day 2 and even day 1 that the clothing that she wore got turned in. So I should imagine that that's all going to come back around. The DNA results, the I guess you could say the DNA left behind in the victim's clothing. I think tomorrow is going to be the "I got you" moment. So there you have it. That's going to be my prediction. So day 3 for videoing, we will certainly see if I guessed right, guessed wrong. I'm thinking day 4. I feel like tomorrow, or I should say day 3, I feel like it's going to be it for the witnesses, and I think then day 4 is probably going to be deliberation. I feel like closing arguments maybe Friday morning, which was day 4, and then jury deliberates. All right, well, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know if this is a situation you've been in. I feel better talking about it because I can't talk to anyone about it. So I'm just, like I said, I'm looking at myself in the camera and talking to myself. But eventually when this airs, you'll hear about it. And like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you soon.